You have your shot ready?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ready to do this?
I guess.
Thanks again, man.
No problem.
Appreciate it.
And there goes away my nervousness.
Good old alcohol, right?
Good old alcohol.
Good old alcohol.
It always does something, you know?
Yeah. It's good for something. And plus, because it was tequila, it has probiotics. So it's technically good for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
And that's one to grow on.
Hey, you learn something. The more you know, right?
Yeah. Doon, 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 doon. I've shown my age on that one. I haven't seen that commercial in, I don't know, like
I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. All right, let me see if I can do this. Welcome to another, I always want to say exciting. Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast where we peel back the curtain and show you what goes on behind the scenes of your favorite bars and restaurants. And we like to call that the industry perspective. Yeah, I used to hate the fucking intro, and now I know it word for word.
It sounds like a mouthful, to be honest.
Hey,
I don't know how we can.
really? Okay, well, we're just gonna gloss over that. I'm gonna just let that go. All right, it's a little too early. It's a little too early. Coming in hot. Honestly, that was the reason why I was always like, oh man. But through time, it like kind of grew on me. It's like a Bloody Mary. Like I don't know if you had to make any from scratch recently, but I've worked in a few bars where we did our Bloody Marys by scratch. Man, and I hate tomato juice, so I hate Bloody Marys. But I actually used to make a really good Bloody Mary. I always feel like when it comes to making cocktails, you need to make all of them the same, you know? So when people come up and they're like, and I'm sure you've had this question too, like, what are you good at making? What's your favorite thing to make and stuff like that? It's like, I don't have one. I don't want to be the person who's known as, they make a really good margarita, but don't ask them to do any classic cocktail other than a margarita, I guess. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. But anyway, thank you for coming in. No problem. Appreciate it.
It's nice to be back.
Yeah, nice to have you back.
Home.
Yeah, and now I'm actually on an episode with you, so that's pretty cool.
Hey man, the jokes are already coming out. It's gonna be.
The jokes are already premature.
Yeah, very much.
And there we are. So how have things been?
Dude, it's been pretty cool since the last time I was
here. It was supposed to keep the thing up there. You know what? I'm just gonna fuck it.
It makes it worldly.
Yeah.
No, yeah, dude. It's been pretty cool since the last time I was here. I was just beginning to bartend. It was something that was very different for me. But now I've had some time, some experience. It's a lot of stories.
Yeah.
A lot of weird moments. But hey man, I'm here.
Life of a bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I love it now. I grew into it, and it's fun.
Yeah. You were saying before, like all your nervousness is gone now.
Yeah, it's now officially gone. Like I don't feel nervous when someone comes up to me. I am growing a bit of hate towards customers.
Well, yeah, that's only natural.
But other than that, I don't feel nervous around them. I don't feel weird when someone asks me for a cocktail or something.
Just let it flow through you.
Yeah, like, you got to be very zen.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
Yeah. I mean, when you first transition over to bartending, it does feel like it's a lot because you're trying to implement this new skill and everything like that, and you don't want to mess anything up. You want to still give like a great level of service, but you don't want to be too nervous because that's when you start dropping things and just being uncomfortable. Like when you can really get to that point where you're just flowing through, that's the sweet spot. So yeah, I'm glad you got there, man.
Yeah,
glad you got there. Yeah, things have been good here too. I did want to talk about like right off the top, because this is something I've been hearing more and more lately. About places making the front of the house and the back of the house split tips. I'd love to hear what you think on that first before I get started. Yeah, I don't want to go off on a rant.
That's good because I was a porter, so I was basically back of the house, but I was technically front of the house, but I still wasn't getting tipped out.
Yeah.
So I'd have a lot of conversation with chefs, with dishwashers and all that, and they'd always want to be like, why don't we get tipped out? And then I really thought about it because I'm just like, wait, why aren't I getting tipped out as a porter if I'm technically front of the house? But in reality, we're not helping guests. I mean, me and the dishwashers, we're the heartbeat of the restaurant.
Right.
If we mess up, nobody else does their work. I mean, nobody else can do their work properly.
Right.
but we're not giving that customer service, that customer satisfaction.
Well, you're providing your service that you're giving is making sure that everyone else can give theirs.
Yeah.
But what I've always felt is that if you are not making tips, your hourly should be higher.
That I will agree.
That's what it should be, in my opinion. Like, I've worked in places where I was the bar back and everything. I've never been any position other than bar back or bartender. So I've never done like porting or bussing or anything like that. But most of the places I worked at, when you had those other positions, their hourly was higher, and then they would get a percentage of tip out. Like, okay, the servers and the bar team tip out those people. But what I'm specifically talking about is like point systems and everything going into one pot for the entire venue. And that is being split. When you have the person that's out there, like, as you say, that's interacting with the guests, and they're making this tip, and they already have to split it between the other people in their position, and now they're having to split it between the entire venue. I just don't think that's fair. It's unfortunately, and that's nothing against anyone. So I don't ever want it to be like a front of house, back house thing, because we need each other. It's mostly what I was saying before is like, if you're doing a different position, pay according to that position. Like, the bartender hourly should not be the same as the kitchen hourly. You should pay that more of a premium as the venue, in my opinion.
Well, I know that where I work at, the kitchen gets paid above 20 for without getting any tips.
Right.
The dishwashers are either at minimum or right below 20. I know that. And then the port, when I was porting, I was stuck at minimum. I was stuck at 16 working 10 hours and shit, 9. So I know we were asked out pretty bad, but I know for the most part they take care of the kitchen crew.
Right.
But I still wouldn't think it'd be fair to tip out the back.
Yeah.
It's just
but it's also not tipping out the back. You're literally splitting the tips with the back. That's where I have an issue. It's one thing to tip out a percentage based on like the service that they rendered to you, because just like a server has to tip out the bar at the end of the night, I can understand that. I just don't like it where it's like you can bring in like $400 or $500 into the pot and then walk with $100, because it's like, oh well, yeah, it's in a pot of 20 people, but only 8 of them were bringing in tips. The other 12 were doing the other functions. It's like, oh, I gotta go out there and get 40 and 50% tips just to even make half of what I should be making. You know, so I just don't think that that's fair. You know, that's always been my thing.
That is a very touchy subject. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, it's very.
But I've been seeing it become more prevalent. That's why I was saying I'm hearing it more.
So would you say that it's more of an out for the kitchen or for the actual like place of employment to?
It's the employment. The place of employment.
They don't want to pay them that
They don't want to pay higher. They don't want to pay higher. They want to charge the guests more to deal with inflation and things like that. But when it comes to paying the people that are doing the job, they want to pay as little as possible. You know, and I feel comfortable saying that because we all know that that's the case. I understand capitalism, but you know, what's right is right, and we've had all these discussions over the last however many years about what is a fair wage for people in the service industry. Now you're cutting into what that wage is even more, because more venues are starting to try to roll out this system of a full pool system, which was something that started really taking prevalence during the pandemic. But that was during the pandemic. Yeah. But a lot of places are like, oh, well, we kept our costs down. You know what I mean? We didn't have to pay the kitchen more because you're splitting everything. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Nah, that's not right. And you know it's not right. You know it's not right. So stop doing that shit, man. You know? Because no one wants to work in a place like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's demoralizing for you to work your ass off and bring in however much you bring in, and you don't take home anywhere near that amount. That's just not cool.
Yeah.
That's just not cool.
Like, I just found out about other states having a lower minimum for service workers. Like $2 and all that. And I'm just like,
I've worked in a state that was like that.
What? That baffled me. That really baffled me. And it felt weird, because then you realize like that your back of the house would probably get paid a higher wage because they're not getting tipped out. But your service workers that are there making the tips, making that money for everybody else, are only getting paid $2 an hour. it's fucked.
Yeah. I mean, I've said this before. I've had friends that owed money to the house after 2 weeks, like on their paycheck. Like instead of them getting a paycheck, it was like, oh no, you owe us $20. It's like, wait, what? I worked. I worked for you. Where did all that money go? Is, well, you're only making $2.75 an hour. And that's what the government is putting down. And then the rest of the time you're just out here hoping to make some extra money. You feel it even more, which is why it's nice to live in a state that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I was kind of grateful for a second there when I read that.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, no shade to anybody else that lives out there and has those kind of paychecks where you have to deal with the $2, but it's fucked.
Yeah.
And then to know that if there are places like that out there that have to tip out their back of the house, that just hurts them even more.
Yeah.
Because
like I said, nobody wants to work there. You get that once you get a bad rep, it's hard to shake, man. It really is. As a venue, when people find out like, oh, they don't treat their people right, you know, you can't get anybody who wants to stay there. And then that's when the service drops off and everyone's money suffers.
Well, we lost a couple of dishwashers for that exact reason of the company just not paying them enough for the amount of work that they did.
Yeah.
It's like they're there for 13, 14 hours sometimes from opening till closing, and then after just to fucking finish washing the everything.
Yeah.
And they would tell me like, I'm not going to be here for long.
Right.
I'd ask them, they're just like, we're not getting paid enough.
Right. Because the position isn't valued properly because they're using that outdated system of saying like, oh no, we'll just pay you minimum. No, you need to pay higher. I mean, sorry, I'm fumbling over my words on that one, but you need to pay higher because that person is standing in front of a dish pit 7-8 hours. Hopefully they work in a state that lets them get a break, because some places it's not mandatory for you to get a break, and those employers they take advantage of that and just work you into the ground, and you're just standing there spraying water and hot and tired and walking home with barely anything. And it's not just in like movies and TV shows where, you see like someone getting out of like a bad situation, moving to a new city, can't find a job, or getting out of, prison or something like that. And the only job they can find is like a dishwasher or something. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go rob somebody too if that's the only job I can get, man. Like, I don't want to be standing in front of a dish pit all day and not making money.
Yeah.
But if I'm making money at what I do, I'm gonna be the best dishwasher you've ever seen.
I'll polish everything.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of polishing, nah, terrible segue. Sorry. Yeah, sorry. Even though I'm the one who wrote this outline, once we got started, I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to transition from 1 to 2? That's just being honest, guys. Just being honest. That's how the sausage is made, man. But since we've already like did all of that, I really wanted to talk about when you're at work and you're, especially if you're bartending, because it is more prevalent with bartending, I've noticed, because they get to sit in the same spot and watch you the entire time. I've seen people do this, when they're dating someone who's a server. It's a little harder to keep your eyes on them because servers are constantly moving and shaking. But people, boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, partners or whatever, that sit at the bar during your shift. And hopefully I'm not pissing anybody off with that, but that is going to be the topic right now. I'm gonna go off on this one. All right. Then feel free to jump in. I feel like it's a little cringe.
It is.
If it happens repeatedly. Like if it's once in a blue moon, that's cool. But if every time I see them, I see you, it's like, man, you might as well just get on the clock, bro. Don't you want to help me clean up a little bit? Which some of them do, I've noticed. But man, like, give it some breathing room, man. Like when your partner's at work, you don't need to be there. I'm sorry, you just don't. Go do something else. It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable.
It is, because even if you don't know them, it's like they're trying to get to know you. Mm-hmm. They're trying to size you up or do
even if you like them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking weird.
Yeah.
It's weird because then you're seeing like they're like I keep an eye on them or they're keeping an eye on something else. You're trying to like work around it. They kind of want attention, and it's weird.
But I'm saying even the ones who don't want attention, I'm saying just on a base level, you don't cause any problems. It's still weird to see you every time if you don't work there. Yeah. If you don't work there, I don't want to see anyone every day. That's one of the reasons I like this job, because even though you work with the same crew, you don't always work with the same crew every shift. So no 2 days can be the same. It's just not possible. And yeah, if you don't work there, you shouldn't be there that often. That's all I'm saying. Not in a overly bad way, you know what I'm saying? Like in a judgmental way. It's just like, it is uncomfortable because if I'm the one who's working, I don't feel like I can be my full self because my partner's there. You know what I mean? Not that I'm doing anything that's bad, but our job, naturally, we have to build a relationship. That's how we get tipped. You know, like how do you do that? If that person, if your girl is sitting there watching you talk to every guest, you're going to watch what you say.
And I've seen people get in trouble for that. I mean, that's the weirdest part. It's like, you just, I don't know. They just have to be precise with their words and make sure they don't get in trouble.
Don't smile too hard.
Oh, yeah, well, you need that smile for the money. Basically, horn yourself.
It's literally supposed to be part of our uniform, right? But if you do too much of it, it's like, why are you smiling at them?
Who's that bitch that you were just talking to? Hey, who is she? How do you know her?
For real, it's really bad, man. It's really bad, and I don't want for my coworker to feel that way. But, I also don't want to feel that way. I don't want anybody else in the room to feel that way. Like that you have to watch everything you do or say because you're being watched, even if the person isn't intending it to be that way. There are some people that do it to, it's a form of control, and it fucking sucks. But I'd say, like, notice the signs. And when you see someone being like that, maybe they shouldn't be with someone who has that type of job. I'm sorry. But it also
know people. I mean, I imagine for strippers and OnlyFans people, but for bartenders, that's something else.
Yeah,
that is your job, to meet different people, make them happy, and make them feel special.
Yep.
And
you can't control how they feel or what their intentions are or how they interpret something that you said. You may not be flirting with someone, but they may take it that way. And you could be in a relationship and then the person is, hey, you want to hang out or some shit like that? Nah, I'm with somebody. Like, it's easy. You're still supposed to trust your partner, man. But I think with our particular job, because we have to be front and center and anyone can come in at any time, I feel like a lot of people's boyfriends and girlfriends, they fucking take advantage of that. Like, and I'm just saying, if you're within earshot of that, like, just chill, bro.
Someone's getting mad right now. Like,
yeah. Someone's punching a wall right now. Like, straight up.
Hey, they need to hear the truth.
Yeah, they're going full Kyle on a wall, man. Like, fuck that motherfucker. like, come on, man. Come on. I mean, yeah, it is our job to provide that experience. Like you said, we're supposed to be smiling at the person, making you feel welcome and things like that. And yeah, sometimes it can be misinterpreted. But one of the things I've also noticed is a tendency for people to, like, they go to a bar or restaurant and they hit on the staff.
Oh, God.
And especially if they're a regular and they come in all the time and they're just hitting on the staff. It's like, we're all talking about you. We all know who you are, right? Like, yeah, some people are successful at that depending on where you go. And I feel like that's because some people just get worn down because they see the same person all the time. And contrary to what people may think, like in our industry, we're not just going home with different people every night. Like, a lot of times you can go a whole night and barely see anyone you even want to smile at, like, that's just a part of it. Yeah. But one of the things I find it very hard to wrap my brain around is if you are a regular at a place, and you're there all the time, why would you want to hook up with one of the staff members? Because if it doesn't work out, like, now you can't go back.
Yeah, it's like, and be like, oh, I'll just go when she's not there. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Like, what? You don't want to feel comfortable next time you come in?
Hey, but that applies to not only bartending though. That applies to every other thing. Like, what if you go to that one Starbucks place?
That's true.
What if you go to that one McDonald's? You go to that.
Yeah, I have hit on somebody in the drive-thru before. It was very unsuccessful. My percentage rate is 0.
Oh shit!
That's why I don't eat fast food. I struck out too many times.
Bad memories.
I'm sitting in the drive-thru and it's like that fucking Vietnam flashback. And I'm just like seeing the explosions, and it's just me being told no repeatedly.
No, they were just eating an apple pie and shit. Just
you cannot have it your way. Yeah, man. Like I don't know, man. I just always look at it, not in an animal sense, but just saying like when you're going out and you're going out like you're on the hunt, that's your hunting ground. You don't want to kill the tour guide, you know what I mean? Because then whenever they see you back in that area, all the other tour guides are gonna be like, nah, like we don't want to be over here anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or you can get 86 from a place because you end up causing drama or someone's uncomfortable, or even worse, like they can fuck up your game. You know what I'm saying? Like your bartender, your server, even your busser. If they recognize you all the time and you're in there with a different person all the time, if you burn them, they can burn you at any moment, man. Any moment. Just gotta be careful.
One story you had. You brought it up on the podcast. It was you accidentally burned someone out, but it was because they were just bringing someone in, someone different.
I've never gotten caught on that. No, I've never busted anybody out. I've said like I maybe that happened to him, but for me, and I mean y'all can fact check me on this, but I know for me, even when I recognize a person, if I know that I don't recognize the person they're with, I'm not going to acknowledge you in a sense to let you know that I know you until you tell them that you know me. Because I also don't want them to feel like, oh, you're just taking me where you take everybody. So that's always been my thing. I act like I don't know anybody. But that's also because I hate everybody.
Dude, I forget every fucking face I see. I've been approached a couple times like, aren't you this person? I'm just like, no. I'm like, I don't know you. You know me? And they're like, yeah. No. Fuck that. I don't want to remember you.
That happens a lot, man. That happens to me a lot for a multitude of reasons. But yeah, especially when it comes to behind the bar and people get insulted. It's like, yo, dude, we didn't fuck. I gave you drinks.
hey, but you made them that one cocktail that you love,
man,
and it was a special moment for them, man.
I'm glad it was good for you. It didn't mean anything to me. That was just another fuck. I'm sorry, man. Speaking of which, man, I've seen this happen before, where some guys that came in and they knew the bartender. And it was also that they knew the bartender's boyfriend. And everything was cool. And then the boyfriend left with them. And I thought like, oh shit, I'm not going to see him again the rest of the night. This motherfucker came back like 15 minutes later, sat at the end of the bar and didn't drink. And I was like, oh shit, something happened. Something happened. So apparently when he was out, he was hanging with his boy or whatever. And somebody said something about, man, we got to go get some girls. And I don't know what gave this man this audacity, but he looked at old boy and said, well, what about your girl? She's down to fuck tonight. And old boy beat the brakes off of him. And I can tell you how I know he beat the brakes off of him. He came back unscathed. And the other dude had left his card. He sent his boy to come back and pick up the card. You know how bad you got to have your ass whooped where you're like, I don't even need my debit card no more. Fuck it, I'll buy another one. I'll just get another one. I'll report that bitch is stolen. But yeah, like that's some audacity right there, man.
For real.
That's some audacity. I mean, I've seen people try to holler at another bartender or server that they know that person has a partner and they're friends with that partner, but because they're at work, they're like, oh, well, I got a chance. They're at work. He's not there or she's not there
that's
or whatever.
Shady ass people.
It is, man. It's cutthroat out there, man. It really is.
Man. Desperate times.
It really is. Just go get your own. I'm sorry. Just go get your own. Wasn't there something you were telling me earlier about you had like not a similar situation, but
no, it was just
something like that.
It was a fucked up story about one of my coworker, the bartender, was getting hit on by a group of 3 guys. One of them were there for because he was getting married soon, so it was more like a bachelor thing, right? And I shit you not, I'd be pissed off about this. I don't know about you, but while
I'm usually pissed off about everything.
All right. But how would you feel? Like, let's say you and me, Paolo, go to a bar. Let's say you're the one that's getting married, and Paolo tries hitting on the bartender. But while at the same time he says, we're all out here for this was marriage, but I don't like the girl this was with. But I think you're pretty. And I do this. And it starts throwing game at the bartender, but at the same time throwing his friend under the bus, saying like, oh, this was tied down.
Yeah.
Oh, this was pussy whipped. Oh, this was this.
Yeah.
And you're using that as your game to hit on the bartender.
So wait, who's the one that's...
So you're the one that's getting married, and Paolo's hitting on the bartender, and he's using
by talking shit about me,
by talking shit about you, and trying to spit game by using you as the fucking.
You know, that is some of the most bitch made shit. I'm not gonna lie. If that is someone's game, that is the weakest fucking game.
They were there for 30 minutes. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever because the guy, who would be you, was trying to justify himself like, nah, man, I love her, this and this and that. So he's trying to explain to my bartender, like, she's cool, this and that. It was like, nah, this is fuck that bitch. But, I'm pretty sure you'd be cool. I like you, this and this and that. And I'm just like, how are you?
So why am I defending myself about loving my fiance because he's talking shit about me to the bartender that he's trying to hook up with? Yeah, nah, I just wouldn't kick it with that fool no more, man. I don't understand why people hang out with people like that.
But that's what I'm saying. It revolves around you with like the bartender's boyfriend, and you're still trying to hit him.
Yeah. I get what you're saying for sure.
Like,
yeah,
you know what the fuck is going on here, but you're still throwing your friend under the bus. The disrespect that's there.
Yeah, just in general, I don't like that. Just in general, I don't like that disrespect. Like if your friend is your friend, they're supposed to be your friend. If your way of making yourself look better is by trying to make somebody else look worse, then you've already lost, in my opinion. Like everything you're doing is for the wrong reason, So, and I just don't fuck with people like that. Once I see someone acting like that in any setting, I just won't talk to them. And I will tell them exactly why. And that's not to put myself up like, oh, well, I do this or you should do that. I'm just saying, I think we just need to be more honest with each other. Like, if you don't like someone and the way that they're being, then just don't be around them. Stop. If you stop, eventually their orbit will take them somewhere else. They'll find something else to revolve around. And you don't have to be friends with people that you don't want to be friends with. I don't know where that changed over the years, where it seems like a lot of people are friends with people that they cannot fucking stand. Because to me, I don't know. You know what? Never mind. I'm gonna stop because I was about to take myself down a rabbit hole, and I've been talking too much already. Anyway, I don't want to. I actually don't want to have to eat those words later. I was about to say something. I was like, you know what? But what if I was in? Nope. It's one of those like you got to cover for somebody's situation. It's like, oh man.
Part of the story is though, if you're a friend,
and
you're hitting on someone, and you're still doing the other dude dirty, that's fucked.
If you're hitting on anyone, it should be about you.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be about someone else. I mean, we've all had those friends that are at the party and their way of trying to talk to girls is to try to be embarrassing on someone else. Especially if they see you getting the shine, you getting the attention. Oh man, they gotta do something to like try to bring you back down to earth. Yeah. But I would say one of the ways that I feel like that also revolves in our world is if whether you're the guest or you're working with someone, like you actually work there. If you're working with someone and you will see them talk very highly of someone when they're in the room, but then whenever they're not there, they're not at work or whatever, and you hear them talking shit about them, I don't fuck with those people either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to trust you because, that means what are you saying to the guests about me if something's going wrong? Like, if you didn't put a drink order in And then you're going and telling them like, oh, the bar is slow today. It's like, no, it's not. You fucked up. I don't fuck with people like that, just in general, man. But especially at work. I definitely don't fuck with people like that at work. Those are the type of people that, like, if they come in, say they show up like 10 minutes early or whatever, and it's just fucking slammed, they'll just walk back out or go hide somewhere. Like, they're not, and then when it's time to get started, they'll clock in 5 minutes late. Like, and just leave you holding the bag. It's like, they see you in the weeds when they get there, and they don't want to help you. Yeah. Which one are you?
I'm always at work early.
Yeah.
I usually step up because if I get there and you're already in the trenches and you need help getting out of it, it's like, if I don't help you then and there, I'm gonna end up in the trenches with you. So it's like, I'd rather get there early, help you out, so you don't have to be there.
Right.
And we both have a simpler fucking day.
Right.
That's how being a busser was for me. It fucking sucked. Like, you have to go on break, you come back and they're already fucking up. You're just like, I was gone for 30 minutes. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
It was.
What are some of the ways that, now that you've been bartending for a while, you feel that your time as a barback, as a busser and everything, helps you be a better bartender?
Communication. As much as people don't understand that, I've noticed that communication with your bartender matters. Because there have been moments where I failed to communicate, and we either both made the same drinks, or we both fucked up somehow, didn't help someone, didn't do anything. It's like, I've noticed that if you both communicate and if you both are in sync, that's what makes it better. Because then you both aren't worrying. Every guest is being helped. If you're working on a service hall, the service hall is being done. And not just that, you get the service off your back.
Right.
It's fucking service. I mean, honestly, yeah, every shade thrown. If you're a server and you give me the hardest fucking time because I'm doing the service well, and you want to be extra, fuck you. Fuck every server that comes up to me and bitches at me. Because you know what? I'm doing my best.
You're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can. So when you say that, as far as like being extra, what would you define as extra?
Being extra, it's like, I would go into different aspects. It's like, maybe I'm helping out the bartender that's helping out the guests, and I ask them like, how are you doing? How are you doing? Like, how are you feeling? Do you need any help with this? Do you need any help with that? If there's servers that need extra help, I'm like, all right, so what do you need from me? What exactly do you need from this drink? What exactly do you need from this cocktail? If they need me to learn something because a guest found something on TikTok, or they just want to drink something that we literally don't have, I'm just like, all right, let me search it up. I'll go that small extra mile, because I could simply say no. Someone the other day asked me to do the last word. I don't know how to do it, but because I want to learn how to make it, I said, yeah, I'll learn it. Just give me a second. Let me search it up. My bartender didn't know how to make it either. My other bartender, she's like, all right, cool, whatever. But I went that extra mile, and I'll be like, don't worry, I'll search it up. Let me do it for you, and let me know how it is, because then at least I'll know if it was good or not.
Right.
So it's like, that extra step is just something that makes it not only for my coworkers or for the guests, but it's also, it helps me out, because it makes me better at the end of it.
Right.
That communication, or that extra mile that I go for the guests to make me learn more cocktails.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but what I mean when you say the servers are being extra with you, like when you're a little bit behind, like what are some of the ways that you, and like, I'm not saying about anyone specific, obviously, like, but just that general feeling for the people who may not understand what you're feeling when you say that.
So we get our rushes. Every bar gets our rushes, and I have to help guests because they're not only on the left side of the bar, they're on the right side of the bar, and they're just staring you down.
Right.
So I help them, and some of our servers tell me, why the fuck aren't our tickets out yet? Look at the time. Look at the printout time. It's only been 8 minutes, maybe 10. I've had moments where people, not because of myself, but because my other coworker couldn't take the service well, and people are waiting 15, 20 minutes for their drinks. And I'm just like, yo, chill the fuck out. I need to help the guests. I'll get to your drinks then. And especially if you give me a ticket that's like 15, 14 drinks deep, none of them are the same. Everything's different. So that means I have to wash tins, pour stuff out, make different cocktails, because nothing is the same.
Right.
And they come up to you, why isn't this ready? Why can't you do this? Why isn't this the way it is? And I'm just like, yo, calm the fuck down. The other day, one of the bartenders fucked up so bad because they both work together, that we are now on a 10-minute period that every ticket has to come out within 10 minutes.
Oh.
So I'm helping a guest. I clearly can't make this ticket. And she comes up to me and tells me, gets my name wrong, by the way, confuses me for another fucking employee, and then tells me it's been 8 minutes, where's my ticket? Look to my right, first and foremost, get my name right, and then complain to me about ticket time. Because
snip snap.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, I'm just like, you're gonna bitch at me
right.
me doing my job, and then that.
Well, I've always felt that no matter what wait time or ticket situation you're dealing with, whenever you see a coworker engage with a guest, you should not be interrupting them anyway. You wait until they step away from the guest, and then you say, hey, I need to talk to you for a second, because what if the guest gave you a complicated order and you're trying to remember that, and then they just start talking to you like as if you were paying attention to them, and now you forget the guest order, and now you got to go back to the guest and ask the order again, which makes them think they have less confidence in you to make the order correctly. Like it snowballs. So first and foremost, I just always suggest to any server, manager, even other bartender, if you see someone engage with a guest, just wait until they're done with the guests. Or what I would, also suggest is if they're taking a little bit longer with the guests and they're within like an earshot, or some places have like a hand signal, or, if I'm behind the bar with someone, I just give them a light tap and I just say, whenever you have a moment, and like, that's it. When you get a sec, and just now you can wait and ask your question when they're ready. So I have to say I agree with you on that.
I hate servers sometimes.
I love my servers, but I think that because we have a tendency to all be worried about the things that are directly going to affect us without thinking about what those other factors are for the other person that you're talking to. Like, have some empathy. You want your drinks made, you want them made as fast as possible. If it's taking a little longer, well, let's find out why. If that's a repeated problem, then let's sit and talk about it, but don't bark at me in front of a guest. Don't interrupt me when I'm talking to a guest. Don't interrupt that guest experience. I understand that you have things that are equally important to you. I'm not saying my thing is more important because I'm the bartender. You got to wait for me. It's more so, let's not put a cog, like throw an extra cog into the wheel and like throw the whole thing up. You know what I mean? Like, let's wait a little bit and, like you said, communicate. Just do it the right way.
Yeah. And one other thing, though, I really do have to mention this, is do not put in a ticket of a cocktail you do not recognize yourself.
Without talking first.
Without talking to the bar. Yeah. And we were talking about this earlier, too. It's like I've gotten so many tickets where they just send me random cocktails, and I can't do this. Why can't you do this? Because we don't have this. And then they're just like, well, can't you search it out? I'm like, it's not the problem. We just can't do this. And then they hate me for them having to go back to the guests and tell them that we can't make this.
Well, that should always be, if you, like you said, if you don't recognize a name, you should talk to someone first before you never tell a guest you can do something that you don't know if you can do. You say, let me check on that. And if we can, we will. If not, I'll come back and find out what else would you like in place of that. I mean, that's just 101 though.
It's not hard to say no. That's what I've learned.
It's my favorite word.
Just no.
It's my favorite word.
I learned that very recently. It's not hard to tell your guest no.
No, it's not.
It really isn't.
I take very sick pleasure in telling a guest no. I get off on it.
And say it with a smile too.
Oh man,
that service smile.
No. Oh man, that's actually been getting me in trouble more lately. Not telling guests no, but I don't smile harder than when I tell a guest no, and that's where I'm fucking up the most, because I get such pleasure in saying no. Like, I'm not saying no just because it's like fuck you and I get off on it. I'm saying no because I know we can't do that. And usually what you're asking me is something so asinine, I can't even understand why you're asking me that. So I'm enjoying telling you no because you should fucking know better. Those are the times like when I have to tell a guest like, hey, I'm sorry we can't make that or we're out of that. I take no pleasure in that. Like I want to give the best experience possible. But when someone just asked me for some stupid ass drink that they saw on TikTok or had at some other bar, like, do you got dry ice? No, we don't. And I love saying that because if I wanted to work in a place like that, that's where I would work. You know, read the room, player.
Yeah.
Read the fucking room. But as it piggybacking off of reading the room is, and this is something I've spoken about before, and I feel like, you know, for the life of this podcast will be something that pops up every once in a while. It's just bringing the personality back to our bars and restaurants. And when I say personality, I don't mean gimmick. I mean personality and just letting the people that you employ be themselves. You know?
That is the hardest thing.
Yeah. Like, how do you feel? Look, not where you work now, because I'm not trying to get you in trouble. Like, let's just be for real. But I'm saying when you go in as a patron of a place and then you look and the people who work there feel like tense and everything, like, how, do you want to be there?
No.
Yeah.
No, I've been, how do I put it this way? When I walk into a restaurant or a bar and you could tell that the staff doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
It's very off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can tell that's not the energy you want to see. Mm. That's not the energy you want to be around.
Right.
Unlike that old bar we all used to go to for lunch. Every bartender had their own personality.
Bro, I was literally having a conversation a couple of days ago with another bartender about that bar, and I haven't been there in over a year. Neither have they, at least as far as I know. But we were talking about the different bartenders and their different personalities, and why we love to go to that place. No matter who worked there, we were always going to have a good time, but depending on who was there, you knew what kind of time you were going to have. And I miss that bar more than most bars I've worked at. Yeah. And I've never even worked at that bar.
I was having a conversation with my coworkers too. We were there after a shift, and then they're just like, I can't believe they're playing the classics. I'm like, oh, well, this bartender's here. When you see this fool, you know he's going to be playing that alternative classics. Like,
yeah,
I feel like middle school. Yeah, because this fool's here.
That's what he plays.
That's the personality. Like, if you can't have that at a place, it's not worth going to.
Right. That's what brings people back.
Yeah.
You know, let your people be who they are, and your guests keep coming back. You know.
Yeah. Once you get a fake smile, it's
yeah, man. And again, I understand if it's a high-end place. You know, there's a certain decorum. You know, I'm not talking about those places, but at the same time, you can see it in media lately. How the last few years you've seen shows and movies that are rallying against the toxic kitchen culture and toxic restaurant culture. It's because the people who work within those fields, especially the high-end places where you can't scream for help, like, there are these stories for that reason. Like, these people are being just taken advantage of, you know, all to provide a fake experience that's overpriced, and the food's not even that good. But you can go to a place down the road, and if the bartender likes you, they show you that they love you every time they see you. And if they don't like you, they'll still serve you. You know what I'm saying? But you know they don't like you. Like, it is what it is. But if you like the other bartender, if you like that place, you keep going there. There are people who've come to my bar now and other bars I've worked at, and they knew I didn't like them. Didn't mean they got any less of a level of service that anybody else wouldn't get. I still take care of it. It just means I'm not going to have a conversation with you afterwards. Like, hey man, what can I get for you? All right, cool.
Hey, it's different. That's it. I agree, but it's also very different when you have a coworker that's trying to stop you with having your own personality. That's something else. I think that's even worse than management trying to control your personality, because they're the one you're working with side to side, like side to side.
Yeah. Or they also like to try to police the personality of the place, even though they're not management, because they're like, I don't think we should be doing this. And those are the ones who rush to become a manager and then change the personality of a place, which then you see all the staff leave. And then they bring in people that they want. But we can go on and on about that. Like, fuck that. Just anyway, just let that energy come back into your establishment. Yeah.
Let me be me.
For real. Well, man, I want to say again, thank you for coming in. Really appreciate catching up with you, man, and having an episode with you. You know. Let's go ahead and sign off for now. That food is fucking calling my name, man. I keep looking at it. Yeah. So we're gonna go eat and smoke. Till next time.